What's up, everybody? We're back again from the Combine Day 3, I think, Evan. Is that what we're on
We're
right
getting
now?
lost right now, aren't we?
It's all starting to blend together here for us in Indianapolis, but it's awesome. Today we had a big day. Defensive backs went, which means cornerback, a huge need for the Patriots. Also special teams and some safeties mixed in there. So we'll take you guys through here, quick wrap-up video of the day. Be sure also check out, we're going to do a longer form podcast. So if you want more detail, more of what we see, what we're thinking on these guys, be sure to check that as well. So Evan, let's get the first part out of the way. Special teams. We saw some kickers. We saw some punchers. We saw Jake Moody, who was the Shrine Bowl MVP. Plenty of Patriots interactions. He looks like he's going to be a kicker at the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a kicker for a long time at the next level. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know kicker mechanics or anything like that, Mike, but I think what you could definitely see from him is the confidence to go out there and make 250-plus yarders in a big game on a big stage. And I think what was really interesting is what he said about there being no extra points in the game. So he was actually a little bit worried that he wasn't even going to be able to kick at all in the Shrine Bowl, but as it turned out, he kicked a bunch in the Shrine Bowl. I would also mention that he can do kickoffs as well. He's a kickoff specialist too, so this is a one-stop shop type of kicker that I could easily see the Patriots targeting in this draft.
I know we don't want to belabor the point, but I thought it was kind of fun today. We heard from a Rutgers punter who's an Aussie-style punter, so that was getting a little bit of an education about that as well. Right. So they have some options, maybe a punter too. I mean, I know Jake Bailey did just sign a long-term deal, but some interesting guys there as well.
Yeah, that was fascinating to listen to him talk about not only the different clubs in the bag, if you will, that he has, that he can punt the traditional style in the NFL that we see or the Aussie style. He's got a bunch of different clubs in the bag, and I think that's a really cool thing to have. And I think he mentioned that during the Senior Bowl he really wanted to showcase that he can punt the traditional way if that's what NFL teams want him to do.
All right, let's move on now to some safeties. Those guys kind of went in the middle, and for Patriots fans, it's kind of a love-hate thing because on one hand, you see all these strong safety types. Brian Branch, who, a great fit for the team. Some mock drafts have him. We know he might be a little bit redundant, but overall, you see the strong safeties might need a free safety. We're still waiting on Devin McCourty. Those are probably the guys, Evan. I know you asked some of the guys trying to get who are these free safety types. Didn't really get the answer you were looking for, though.
No, a bunch of them told me that they like blitzing, and I was like, guys, your safeties, okay? Like, what are you going to blitz once a game if you're lucky? Let's talk about coverage a little bit. I think the two guys that talked about coverage the most were Jordan Battle, who gave me a little Rip Liz tutorial, which was pretty cool, and then Christopher Smith from Georgia, who is probably the only true top 100 pure free safety center fielder in this draft. He mentioned that he likes two trap, which is a split cover two coverage. Not exactly what I wanted to hear from a Patriots perspective, but at least he said that he wanted to cover and he didn't want to blitz. So I'll give him that.
That's great. Well, let's get to the really, the biggest need, and that's cornerback. And I mean, Evan, I think we're in lockstep on this. These guys today, I'm intrigued. I mean, there are guys with length. There are guys just, and this is somewhat superficial. You're just hearing these guys talk, but you can't help. You're a human being. You're going to see these guys. I like this guy. I like this guy. I'm just going to point from the top. Joey Porter Jr., a lot of talk about, Joey Porter. How would his dad feel about if he came to New England? Someone asked him actually about the Ravens, which was, every bit as much of a rivalry. And he said, hey, that was my dad's rivalry. I'm just going to be blessed to go when any team takes me. So that was the answer he wanted to hear. But it was just an example to me that this is a stat class with cornerbacks. And given the Patriots' need, I think they need to get at least a couple of these guys, maybe in the first 2 days.
Absolutely. And he did actually get asked about the Patriots later on, I saw. And he had said that I think his father, he said, he thinks his father would be happy about it because of how great of an organization New England is and how great of a coach Bill Belichick is.
He's nailing it, folks.
He reminded me, watching him up at the podium, reminded me a ton of Patrick Surtain, whose father obviously also played in the NFL. And you just know that they've had the coaching both on and off the field, that they know what to expect. They know how the combine works. They know how the NFL works, what people are looking for. And he really held court up there, Joey Porter Jr. And he mentioned that the one thing that he wants to show off to scouts this week is that he's got some speed. I think we know he's 6'2", 6'3", ultra long, ultra physical, some Sauce Gardner comparisons in his game for some people. But does he have that great play speed, that great long speed to carry receivers down the field? He feels like he's going to prove some things in his 40-yard dash.
Well, Evan, I'm going to just run down the list here. As I underlined a bunch of guys, I mean, we're obviously have some guys that we like right now, but I mean, just all these guys interest me. Christian Gonzalez, Riley Moss from Iowa, Emmanuel Forbes, who's had, tons of picks and hands all over the balls. Clark Phillips, another one. Tyreek Stevenson, Julius Brents, one of your favorites.
Yeah.
There are just so many guys that have the prototypical size. again, I think at least one or two of these guys, I'm begging, they got to come on the roster this year.
It was great. Christian Gonzalez mentioned that Oregon's base is press man. They want to start in press man, and then everything kind of sprouts off of that. He also mentioned that they play a decent amount of match coverage, so I was like, you're speaking my language right now. Man, match. This is what we want to hear. I would also say Juju Brents, or Julius Brents, he went by Juju here.
Juju today.
That was really impressive to hear him talking about going against Quentin Johnston and recognizing that it wasn't necessarily the best performance for him against the TCU receiver, but he also mentioned that Kansas State, 75% of the time, he said, I'm in people's faces. I'm at the line of scrimmage. I'm playing man-to-man coverage on an island. So I think a lot of these guys are battle-tested. They played man-to-man on the outside. They're bigger corners. This is a corner draft that I would say goes 15 to 20 deep in the top 100. There could be 20 top 100 corners in this class. That's incredible.
Well, there you have it, and it's a big need for the Patriots, and we're just getting into the big needs because tomorrow we're going to see quarterbacks and, of course, wide receivers. We all love the wide receivers. They'll be out tomorrow. And then finally Saturday, another big need, offensive line. We'll get a look at those guys. So, again, be sure to check out the longer form pod. We're going to break down some more of these cornerbacks. We talked to Mike Rodak, who has a connection to Alabama. He gave us some insight into some of those Alabama guys as well as Bill O'Brien. So stay tuned for that as well. And otherwise, we're just grinding away here in Indy. We love it. We'll be back tomorrow with more content.